What is going on? That's T Shroom. You see
T-Shroom.
T Shroom, but you hear the Tim. Who are you actually listening to? This is the Investing Bros. There's our technical difficulty out of the way right there in the first second of the show. That's how you know today's going to be special. The truth is, guys, there's not necessarily a whole heck of a lot of news to cover. Here's the thing, even the SBF stuff, probably top news of the last 24 hours. I think people are kind of like, we're tired of SBF. We're freaking tired of hearing about SBF. It's about time he's guilty. We still have to wait until March 28th, the day of my birth. I will be turning 30. Upon the year that I turned 30, the day I turned 30, SBF will have his sentencing. What do you think it's going to be? I put that question out on X earlier today. Got a lot of comments thinking it's going to be less than 20 years, even though the potential is all the way up to 115. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section. But also, I'm joined by T Shroom today. T Shroom, how are you feeling? And what is your guess? What's your length of time for the sentencing for good old Samuel Bankman-Fried?
Oh man, I would have to say, okay, so you got 115 years is the max. Maybe 40 years. I'm gonna go 40.
40. You're higher. You're like double what everyone else is saying. By the way, T Shroom, how you doing today?
I'm doing okay. Okay. I've got a lot of projects that are paying me at least to work on them, and it's just there's a lot going on upstairs. But I have been studying these markets, and I bought back into BitX today. I had sold that when that head and shoulders pattern reared its ugly head, which I deeply regret. But here we are. You know, it's better to not have lost money than to lose money. So
true.
That's
very true.
That's my thing. But I'm edging back into BitX, and it's so far so good. But I do have a quote of the day. You may have thought, T-Shroom, where is the quote of the day? Well, I got it right here. The secret of happiness, you see, is not found in seeking more, but in developing the capacity to enjoy less.
That's true, dude.
Socrates. What do you think about that one, Tim?
It's very true, man. It's very true.
Tim, you seem like the kind of guy who's never sawified. Like, you got to have it all. You got to have it now.
Listen, man, the amount of things that I've been thinking through, so right now, my wife and I are dealing with things. Babies are expensive. Student loan debt that my wife took and then didn't do anything with is expensive. So we're, got some bills to pay. But of course, I'm definitely making more money now than I was when we first got married. And, if you had told me 5 years ago, Tim, you'd be making this much money in the future, I'd be like, oh, Tay doesn't even have to work. We'd be completely fine. And now I'm making this much, and it's like, gosh, I know inflation has been different. Last 5 years, things have definitely got more expensive. But it's true, man. You really got to take each day, and you got to slow down and be grateful for what you do have. Because if you just focus on what you don't have, you're never going to have enough. People are never going to have enough. And ultimately, I don't think I've fallen too far down, but listen, the love of money is the root of all evil. The chasing of money for money's sake, it really ruins you as a person. So it's good to sometimes stop, slow down, stop just chasing the rabbit ahead of you and think about how far you've come and be grateful for the things you have now. And Lord willing, I will grow, and my family will grow, and our income will grow, and our blessings will grow. But at the end of the day, if it doesn't grow, if I'm exactly where I am right now in the next 20 years, the Lord is still good, and I'm still blessed, and I'm doing well,
Yep. Let me give my under 25s a life hack real quick. If you're watching and you're under 25, here's a life hack. Stop going to the club and the bar 3 or 4 times a week. Invest in a nice gaming console and buy a $60 game, and then run the math. See how much money you're going to save by getting addicted to some video game rather than going to the club every night and trying to get lucky. Just get lucky in the metaverse, baby. Meaning in video games. So that's one thing that can be said on a YouTube live stream, and now we've done it. So there we go. We can tick that box, Tim.
Yeah, what's crazy is you say that, and Crypto Trades is even here. I thought we only say things like that when Crypto Trades is not in the building.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so we're breaking the stretch. All right, well, that's good. That's good stuff. You heard it here first, guys. Get lucky in the metaverse.
That's right. That's my life
quoted
hack.
by T Shroom.
As my reaction to how to enjoy less. It's true.
Yeah,
it's true. Get yourself a good gaming console, and you'll never be bored. and you'll save money. As long as you don't go on Steam too much and try to buy new games.
Okay. Well,
I've got a lot more life hacks when it comes to gaming.
This is a crypto channel, so we're going to start talking about some crypto. If you're enjoying the banter, you can smash the like button. If you don't like the video just yet, that's okay. You don't have to hit the like button yet. We're going to get into some crypto. We're going to talk some news and some TA, get some good Q&A. Let's start off, T-Shroom. Let's start off by taking a look at some charts here, and then maybe we'll earn a like or two here in a couple of minutes. Guys, Bitcoin, a little volatile today, coming back down. Here's what we're kind of looking at. Let's go to the hourly chart to kind of see more. After losing the support level of this pennant, we have regained it, and we're kind of using it as support once again. I still think the momentum is keeling over here. Let's take a look at some oscillators, what we're seeing going on. Most recently, we had some bullish ones here on the hourly chart, so you are seeing some bullishness on these lower time frames as we're hitting the support levels, but it's not a great picture as we start moving our way up. Yes, we have the MVP oscillator kind of flowing here a little bit, turning green, but those aren't massive green histograms, and we're setting, the RSI is starting, not RSI, excuse me, chart prime oscillator and RSI are starting to drop lower as we're making our kind of, rounding effect right here in, again, what I'm assuming is a Bart Simpson's pattern. Doesn't mean it's over. It doesn't mean that there's no chance of a pump for Bitcoin, but we're seeing the patterns and signs of the momentum slowing down. The whole money flow is starting to keel over. You start to move up to these higher time frames like the daily, and after just hovering up here, being overextended and overbought for so long on the RSI, getting these reversal flashes, we're finally seeing the rounding off and the coming back down to reality. And again, we told you guys, this is the mark. This is when, to me, this is when it was kind of like, all right, the party might be over. When the 5 daily flash is bearish. There's not a lot of times in Bitcoin's history that you get a bearish flash on the 5 daily and you don't at least have a pullback of a couple days. This bearish call, by the way, does not mean we're going down and setting new lows. I don't even think it's going to mean we're going down to 25,000. I think 25,000 is still definitely within the cards. But I think it is communicating to us that for the next little bit, that 36,000 that we called here on the channel as being the potential top of this rally, that did look like it was a nice little finish, a nice little firework there at the end, maybe faked out a couple extra strong bulls who didn't think we were done yet. Again, there's a chance we move up, but I'm just starting to see the dominoes kind of falling here. Again, we're even going away from the oscillators. Let's take a look here. We hit that 36K, filled the CME gap, hit that 0.382 level on Fibonacci, which, by the way, Remedy and Peralt says, just remember DCA and pray. Everyone is uber important. Maybe, but probably. Yes. Amen. I just remember DCA and pray. Everyone is uber important. Maybe, but probably. That's a good quote.
You had me in the first half.
Yeah, the first half, I'm really with it, and and then the second half, I love you, Remington Peralt. That's all I'm going to say. All right, we're going to keep moving on here. Thank you, though, for that super chat and being a member now for over 3 months. We're getting the reversal flashes here on the 3
Matt
daily.
G's questioning you, Tim. He's saying 25K. Come on.
Matt G. Wait, are you saying you wanted to come? I didn't say that. I said there's a chance we don't go to 25K. I think things are going to get very interesting when we start coming back down towards these dynamic reactors that are above 25K. 25K would be in the cards if we see a similar type of scenario to what we had way back in 2019, where we saw upwards of a 50% pullback. Again, I'm not calling for a 50% pullback. In fact, a 50% pullback from 36 would put us down to 18. I don't think we're going to 18. Is it possible? It is possible. To me, I think there's a lot of strong support in the concept of saying when you break through former resistance, it's just always solid technical analysis and trading strategy to let the price pull back down to those levels of resistance. I kind of coming in here, I think that 31,000 is kind of looking maybe a little bit low, 31,000, technically 30,900. But to me, that's kind of where I'm looking at and saying, I think after breaking through and slashing through that former resistance, that $31,000 to $32,000 range looks like a very comfortable, nice place for retracement if nothing bearish gets out of control, right? Of course, there's going to be reasons. There's going to be things in the news that say, oh, Bitcoin's going down. But as long as there's nothing crazy serious, 32,000, guys, is just a normal, healthy rally pullback, right? So it's still a bull trend. It's still going up into the right. It's just a healthy pullback. Don't be surprised unless, again, something very bearish happens, but don't be surprised when we're sitting here and calling for $40,000, $42,000, $50,000. Guys, Bitcoin will hit that again, and it might even get back up to 40,000 before the end of the year. What I'm saying is I just wouldn't be surprised to see us dip back down here towards 31 and then make a push to new highs later. Guess what that is? That's a higher high and a higher low.
Got
That's
a question
bullish.
for you, Tim.
Yeah.
How much of your dry powder are you deploying back down at 31?
Yeah, I'm not going to do 100% of what I have, but I'm going to do a hefty percentage. Unless
30%.
The two things that would make me pause and say I'm going to hold off. If there's a good reason to believe that Gary Gensler is going to deny, which, by the way, that rumor is out there that there's a potential he's just kicking the can down the road and then he's going to squash everyone's hopes and dreams. Remember, the lawsuit that he lost to Grayscale doesn't say that he has to approve ETFs. It says he has to now. He was refusing. He being the SEC, but Gary Gensler is the one doing it. He was refusing to even review the Grayscale ETF, right? So the lawsuit was pretty much saying, hey, you have to acknowledge our ETF proposal. You have to take it into consideration. The judge says, yes, you have to do that. SEC says, all right, fine, whatever, we'll review it. He's still allowed to say no. Now, what's going to happen is he's going to get sued for having stupid reasoning for denying it. But guess what? If he denies all these ETFs, you start the whole process all over again. I'm not saying I think that's going to happen, but I am saying there are people of intelligence who are starting to rumble up those rumors that there is a potential he would do that. And again, we're talking about Gary Gensler. Is that really that crazy to believe that he could take us down the road, make us think that maybe he's going to say yes, and then pull the rug out from under us? I'm not predicting it. I'm just saying it's not the craziest thing in the world.
It's like less than a 10. I think officially, according to like the Bloomberg and analytics, it's like less than 10% likelihood of that.
Because Bloomberg's never been wrong. They've gotten everything 100%. Okay, I'm not trying to make the argument of saying I think it's going to happen, guys. I'm just saying if that happened, if we do see that happen, then I'm not buying at 31,000. If we do, if there is, I don't think it's going to happen either. But if we do have massive escalation in the wars that are happening right now, I think I'm going to hold on and pause for a second. I think if we see something in the inflation numbers drastically drop and potentially with the job market still being so strong, Jerome Powell kind of gives some rumblings that, the economy is doing well, but if inflation stays still, but the job market keeps going to the upside, right? I could see myself saying, like if there's a temptation for another interest rate hike for him to continue to tackle inflation, that's another reason that potentially we're going to see prices go to the downside. If we continue to see now here's my other prediction. I don't think banks are going to fall. There's a lot of rumors that banks are going to go down. I think the government's going to bail them out because that would be horrendous for banks to fall going into an election year, right? But if you hear banks going out and banks going down, that's a reason to buy no matter where the price is. Bank collapses are very good for Bitcoin. Yeah. But my point is 31 is where I'm comfortable issuing a decent amount, and then I'm going to hold out for potential a little bit lower, maybe towards 27, 28, but not counting on it, I guess is the best way to put that.
Yeah. So I've got dry powder. I've also got a wedding coming up next year. So I'm trying to I've got some, extra considerations, some big costs coming up.
Is that the cost of, were you going to too many clubs and not playing enough video games and you caught yourself a wife and so you're trying to help people avoid the same pitfalls?
It's something like that. But yeah. I'm looking more to deploy probably closer to like 60 or 70% at 31. But I think that there's just so many more buyers than sellers right now. I just go by the old uncle metric, right? How many uncles are hitting you up asking you about Bitcoin, right? They don't have to actually be your literal like hereditary uncle. I'm talking about like just people in your life with real money, right, who've been hesitant to buy into digital assets for one reason or another. How many of them are hitting you up per month, right? And I've seen a huge uptick.
Here's the thing to remember. Again, we're not following the 4-year cycle in this part of it perfectly, but historically, the best time to buy, if you're wanting to buy brand new lows for Bitcoin, they're past. Historically, altcoins, you actually might still see new bottoms / double bottoms, right? But the time that's the second best time to buy during a bear market is supposedly coming here end of November, December, if we stay with the 4-year cycle. I'm going to let it stretch. Now that everything's kind of delayed and moved on, I'm going to let this stretch all the way into early January. I don't see... I see upward momentum starting late January at the latest. At that point, I think 100% of my dry powder is going to be out and utilized by the end of January.
Mm-hmm.
But I am aware that things can kind of go back and forth and go fickle. Let's check in on some other coins. So you guys have heard enough about Bitcoin. Again, nothing crazy is happening. Ethereum kind of continuing to hover here. Let's go down here to the 4-hour chart. Kind of hovering here, trading sideways, doing its own Bart Simpson's pattern. I thought we would come up here the other day. Literally, I got pretty much almost every single one of my calls right about where I thought we would top out, except for Ethereum, right? Cardano went a little higher. I put a 31-cent limit on Cardano, went to 33. So good for them. I said 46.60 for Solana. Did it. We literally wicked out pretty much exactly I think we went 5 cents higher than what I called. My bad. But Ethereum, I said 1900. I said we were going to hit to this red line, and I was wrong. We did not get there. Can we? We could, but as we're seeing other things dwindle off, I think is a decent chance that Ethereum is one of the ones that joins that. We didn't get our 1900. We set our new high coming back up, the high for this rally, that is. That high came up to about 1874, give or take, and then it came to the downside. Ethereum, again, Bart Simpson's pattern looking nice. Solana, borderline, is not a blow off top, but borderline. I mean, that's a pretty good peak right there coming to the downside. Not a Bart Simpson's pattern, just an explosive rally that is now getting a correction. Cardano kind of sitting here. I don't know if you're going to call this a Bart Simpson's pattern, but it's not a blow off top either. They've come up. This is one that, again, Cardano, I said it before, I'll say it again. There's a chance that we're done rallying here, but if they can top 33, even while other coins are falling, 33 cents to 60, or sorry, 30, that's crazy. 33 cents to 36 cents. There's not a lot of volume standing between us. Again, the value gap at 33, that's what rejected us. There's technically one a little higher towards 33.5, but if we can make a push up here above 33 cents, there's just not a lot of volume between us and that value area high up here. Now, it says 35.7, so technically that is where they're, but 36 cents is where I'm going to kind of go with this. Even when I take down the volume, the fixed range volume profile, you'll see, we found some support here at 35, but as a whole, when we dropped, it's just a clean drop all the way from 37 all the way down. And then when we get back up to 30 cents, we make a jump all the way back up to 37. So very explosive movements have happened when we've entered that range between 33 and 36 cents, whether we're dropping down or whether we're rallying up. Those are very, very good. That's very explosive movement in that area. You see it almost everywhere. There, even these moves back here. 33 cents was resistance back here. Even these moves back here, while they didn't do it in one candle on the daily chart, they didn't really have too many red candles on green rallies, and they didn't have too many green candles on red falls, right? So that area of price action, 33 to 36 cents, it's like a slippery, very slippery slope of just you get in there and you're going to make a move to the other side very easily. Now, does that 33 cents hold resistance? That's the question. XRP, again, had its nice little rally here up towards 60. What do we get to? $62? 62 cents, excuse me. Sometimes I slip up. 62 cents, but then we're now kind of hovering, same thing as we're seeing with Cardano. I wouldn't say, this is a little too early to say Bart Simpson's pattern. It could be, but it could just be a rounding top moving to the downside. I'm heavily anticipating, guys, that we're going to be seeing most of crypto, especially larger caps, have their pullbacks after these nice rallies we've had over the last has it been 2 weeks now, 3 weeks? Maybe we're coming up on 3 weeks. But all good things that go to the upside. You have your retracements, they pull back. Again, here's going to be the real question. How significant are the pullbacks? Right now, I'm predicting higher lows for all of them. We're talking about potentially 55 cents here for XRP. That's been a very, very key psychological level for XRP for a while now. We're talking about for Ethereum probably pulling back somewhere in the range back here towards 1662. We're talking about for ADA somewhere here in the range. That's where we pulled back before. I think potentially coming back to 28 cents on Cardano would make a lot of sense if there's nothing crazy bearish happening. For Solana, we're talking about coming back down to $27. The bigger the rally, the harsher the pullback, really is how you guys should think about this with these retracements. But as a whole, the market's moving down right now. Bitcoin dominance continuing to slip here, but is coming back down. We might be about to see Bitcoin dominance make a move to the upside during this fall. That's one thing we talked about it before as well, is during these pre-bull market rallies, one of the characteristics is, as a whole, Bitcoin dominance goes higher during the rally, And then during the fall, it goes higher once again. You see after breaking that resistance, it's coming back into it. And let's see here. Let's see what the daily chart's kind of saying. It is saying still overextended here on the daily chart, but I'm not going to be surprised to see us find some support there and move to the upside on that green trend line. Hourly chart, I'm going to assume, is probably bullish. Yeah, it's a little more bullish on the hourly chart. But we'll see. We topped out at 54. We'll see if we can move to downside. But my prediction is that during this retracement, we're going to see Bitcoin move up to the upside in dominance. Go ahead, T-Shirt. What was you saying?
Tim, I've got a question for you. So I tweeted this out earlier today, and this is just an observation I made. So the last couple candlesticks, this is a 1-to-1 of the Dixie and Bitcoin up at the top, Bitcoin on the top, Dixie on the bottom. Okay, so you see on the 16th, Bitcoin had a big pop when the Dixie dropped down, big red on the Dixie on the 16th, and then on the 23rd, this is October 23rd, same thing, big pop for Bitcoin. That's what brought us back up into the 32 range, above 32 range, right? That big red Dixie candle, and as the Dixie resumed higher, Bitcoin ignored it and kept moving higher. Now we're seeing the Dixie come back down. And Bitcoin not really, making a huge decision one way or the other, which ultimately the question is like, is that kind of bearish? Because now if you look at this is the 10-year, right, and then you also look at the Dixie, Bitcoin really should be shooting up based on what has happened in the past. So why aren't we seeing Bitcoin move higher? Is it because it's bumping its head on 36? And is it because it's not going to go higher?
Good question. I mean, with the Dixie, I hadn't actually looked at the Dixie's chart today. So it kind of getting rid of a flag pattern there, although there's technically kind of a falling level of resistance there. Definitely broke below my little trend tool. But, there's times and seasons where Bitcoin and Dixie trail go together. In reality, what we're kind of seeing here today, for example, we're seeing the S&P go up. We're seeing the NASDAQ go up. We're seeing gold slightly tick to the upside.
See, that's my answer, is I think that money rotated into equities because equities
I think
were vastly underbought.
I think Bitcoin kind of got away from being a risk-on asset and kind of became an alternative investor. Mm-hmm. And now that the stock market is going well, it's like I think you might have seen people fearfully moving money from the stock market into crypto, into Bitcoin, into Solana. That's why it's pumping. And now there's kind of a resurgence. Like, all right, well, the stock market's actually better. It dipped really heavily. Let's go back over. Let's move some money back over. Like Bitcoin had your good rally. Solana had its good rally. Let's take your profits, go put them back into a falling stock market that should be about to rebound.
Yep.
I still don't know if we've seen a complete separation and divergence of Bitcoin in the stock market. I'm not predicting that, but we are in a mini period, and this has happened before and it will happen again without a macro period of it. There's mini periods where Bitcoin and the stock market, crypto and the stock market do diverge and they go in separate directions. And then you see crypto end up moving in line with the US dollar. But here's the other thing is like a lot of people were saying another reason to invest in Bitcoin here recently is recession scare. So what did we hear from Jerome Powell this last week? We heard him say the Fed actually is kind of moved out of even being afraid of recession. So anyone who maybe went and bought Bitcoin thinking, are we about to go into recession, kind of had their fears eased by Jerome Powell. And now they're like, all right, let's move money back into the dollar. The stock market or something else instead of Bitcoin. Let's take our profits there. Now, again, I still believe again, I think there's gonna be a big dip before the ETF approvals or after. I'd prefer them to come before, and it makes more sense for the dip to come before, so that before that massive increase in demand comes, these institutions load their bags with more and more and more Bitcoin. So that's another reason. I mean, there's a plethora of reasons, but that's another reason why I do believe this retracement, this fall in price is happening now in preparation for another explosive move once we actually get the approval of these ETFs and the 4-year cycle gets into place with the halving that people want to start throwing their money back into Bitcoin.
Yeah, it all makes sense, guys. Got another one here for you, Tim.
Yeah.
This is Avax. So on the daily chart, Avax has gotten up over the dynamic reactor and flipped it green. You can see it wasn't able to do that back in July. And then the last time it did that back in April, obviously had a big move to the upside. Not saying that's going to happen again. Don't get me wrong here. But what I am saying is this is significant for Avax. Avax looking good. And it's got the little bit of confluence, too, with the green trend assist and the buy rating here from Chart Prime.
Yeah, but if you look on the charts, there's a lot of sell pressure too. If you go to my chart, that this is very rare to see a dynamic reactor kind of meet up with one of the reversal bands. Well, yeah, that's exactly what we're seeing happen. You're seeing not only bearish divergence and a red reversal, we're seeing a peak seeker come in here, bearish peak seeker here on Avax's daily chart. Even when I kind of turn off all the chart prime, which again, I love using chart prime, it's like a cheat code, but even just look at it from a chart perspective, do we beat this little wick right here? Yeah, we beat that wick, but as a whole, this is still lower highs. To me, what you see with Solana, I understand more why people are hyped about what they're seeing with Solana. When you see Bitcoin setting a new high for the year, it's like, oh, that's awesome. Avax is nowhere close to their highs of the year. In fact, they would have to get, let's see, technically January. That when everything else seemed to be going down, Avax up here sets a high at 2280 all the way back in early February in 2023, when everything else was really kind of struggling still. To me, this seems like almost like a divergence right here. That's like the better that the crypto space is doing, the worse Avax does, and then vice versa. Even if this recent move was a move in that right direction, I think Avax potentially is one that's like, hey, I'm not saying don't buy it for the bull market, but I am saying this is not a bullish chart that screams to me a lot of confidence. When I told you guys there are cryptos, there are altcoins out there that I think could set new lows for the bear market, Avax is one of them. In fact, it would only take, let's see what it would take from right now. It would only take a 28% dip to set a new low. Guys, I don't know if Bitcoin's going to do a 50% dip, but let's just do the math here. If Bitcoin dominance goes up during these falls historically, and Bitcoin itself could potentially dip 20 to 30%, you're going to have to start putting some of these altcoins in the categories of 40 to 50% dips, if not more. I was doing this analysis earlier with Kelly Kellum, actually. I was spending some time with Kelly and the BitLab community. Shout out to anyone who maybe is in both of those here. Love hanging out with Kelly and the BitLab community. But let's go back to the history of Ethereum. There weren't a whole heck of a lot of altcoins. So you got to look at a couple that definitely were around. Hit the wrong button there. Let's go to log. Take a look at pre-bull market movements that Ethereum made. And again, this is the thing that it's like people will convince themselves that the bull market is back during these rallies, like 368% from the bottom of Ethereum. And that's amazing, right? 300%. The bull market is back. Well, guess what? Bitcoin retraced 50% from its massive pump. What did Ethereum do? What did the altcoins do? They had pullbacks in the range of 69, almost 70%, right? So again, during this period of time, during pre-bull market rallies, not only does Bitcoin outgain the altcoins, but in the pre-bull market rally retracements where the price falls, the altcoins outpace Bitcoin dominance again, or altcoin outpace Bitcoin, and they had these massive pullbacks. Just because I'm looking at Solana, I mean, Solana, of course, is special coming in. Everyone thought it was dead, but let's say before Solana was dead. Am I on the right daily chart here? Yeah, okay. Let's say before Solana was dead. Let's say we only ever saw a pullback down here towards. Let's do this one. Let's do the wick back here at $12. Since that wick at $12, Solana has had a rally up here, 266%. People are freaking out about it, but guess what? That's not even as significant as the rally that Ethereum had back in 2019. You're telling me that it's impossible for us to have a big pullback on Solana from this top right here? A 50% pullback we're talking about down here to 22. I told you guys 27. 27 would only be about a 41, 42% pullback. We could see it go lower. We could see some of these coins have some big drops, even though everyone was convinced the bull market was on during these explosive rallies. Historically, you have explosive rallies that do not mark the beginning of the bull market. They are followed by catastrophic dips that just crush the soul and the hope of the investors. But if you think clearly and take emotions out of it, you're prepared, you're ready, you capitalize on these dips, and then you make a lot of money when the real bull market comes. And we're going to see, again, I think Solana is going to be one of those coins that even from where it currently is, I still think we're going to see a 20x. We come down here, we come down back towards, let's just say 27 is what I said here. Let's say $27 ends up being the furthest we pull back. and we make a move like I think we can with Solana, let's go with the more bearish side. I think to me 700 is a interesting spot on the lower end for Solana. That right there is still a 24x from 27. I think 1,000 is definitely within the cards. That would be somewhere around a 36, a 35x, right? So take advantage of these dips. Don't deny them. Don't let your emotions and your feelings change your analysis of saying, hey, we see these pre-bull market rallies that get dealt with big pullbacks. We saw it in 2019. We saw it in 2015. It's not like it was just the last bear market we saw this. We've seen it consistently without the 4-year cycle. And again, we're seeing things kind of start to line up even in the news world that they're not going to start printing bearish articles yet, but we're seeing things with our logical minds and saying, all right, this is a catalyst for a big dip to the downside.
Yeah. Yeah, well, why don't we go ahead and slip on into some news? What do you say, Tim?
Let's do. Yeah, we do have some news here. Before we do that, let's do. You said you're going to stump me. You said, well, you didn't say you were going to stump me. You said the elf had my number today. He was going to stump me. He did get me yesterday.
Yeah.
By the way, is the elf a he, a she, or a non-binary?
Bro. He's a bro.
Well, but anyone can be a bro. So he's
Exactly.
just he identifies as a bro, or they identify as a bro.
We identify as a bro.
We identify as bros. That's true.
That's right.
True. Well, let's get the elf's trivia question. What do we have for me today?
All right, let's get to the trivia question here, brought to you by none other than Decrypted.tax. Guys, we're coming into the end of the year. I don't know if you've noticed, but it is Q4. It snuck up on us, and we don't want to let it slap us in the face. Get ahead of the tax season this year by going to Decrypted.tax and signing up for a free 30-minute consultation, but don't talk their ear off, guys. Give them a little, give them the information, get in, get out, make the decision if you want to work with Ernest over there at Decrypted.tax. We like him. We like what they're doing over there. They seem like they know exactly what to do to help you out. Now, you might be thinking, but T-Shroom, I've got businesses, I've got a bunch of real estate portfolios, I've got this, I've got that. I don't want to have to find a new tax guy, but I do have all this crypto. What should I do? Should I just not pay my taxes? I think you know the answer to that question. Come on now. Go to Decrypted.tax today. You get 25% off their services. You're going to need someone in your corner who knows crypto this tax season. Let it be Decrypted.tax. You help out the investing bros. You have a good time. You meet Ernest, who's not just a CPA. He's a tax attorney, okay? Tax attorney, you want to have someone like that in your corner. Factoid of the day. What is the largest dog breed?
Holy freak. Gosh. I don't know
Tim's
what
taking this one hard, guys.
I don't know what a Gary Inu is.
A, you've got the Boer Bell. B, English Mastiff. C, the Great Dan. Or D, the Gary Inu.
Are we talking about weight or height or
largeness? The degree to which it is large.
I don't know what A or D even is. I hope that's I hope when we get the answer. You're right. The elf got me today. This is hard. We'll do know between an English Mastiff and a Great Dane, they are both very large dogs. But if we're talking about the true potential they could get to, Rick Nachos just said B. I was about to say I think C. I think Great Danes are bigger than English Mastiffs in terms of potentially like height and everything. I don't actually know the weight of these dogs. I have definitely seen a Great Dane that is enormous, and I've seen a lot of Great Danes that are enormous. I've seen one that probably stood up to about 5'6", 5'7", standing on all fours.
Good Lord.
It was huge. That's what I'm saying. When we're talking about hugeness, like height-wise, it was huge.
Well, it's not hugeness, though. It's largeness. So just
true.
To clarify.
Wrong ratings. I'm still going to go with C. I'm going to say Great Dane. And if it's A or D, I didn't have a chance because I can't even – for all I know, he's throwing me off. Those aren't even dog breeds. Those are just – I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm going C.
I don't think that the Factoid Elf would ever try to trick you, Tim. I think the Factoid Elf is a very upstanding bro. All right, Tim, let's go ahead and get on into the news. We're going to circle back, bros. We're going to circle back on this factoid to find out the answer after the end of the news. Let's get into it. First, we got to eat our salad before we eat our steak, of which there is a lot today. But let's get into the details here, kind of tracking the non-farm payrolls here. Came in lower than the consensus and the forecast. And then also you've had the...
Wait, it came in lower?
Yep. yeah, the actual was lower than the consensus, the non-farm
Oh, I'm
payroll.
looking. Sorry, I'm looking at the thing beneath it. All right, you're good.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
sweet.
That
Unemployment
Tim.
is higher.
Yeah,
Unemployment's higher.
yeah, we're tag teaming the economic data this afternoon. I like it.
Good. No, you're doing great. It's phenomenal.
Unemployment rate came in higher as well. Okay, so this is, I mean, I'm sure this isn't the first time you've heard it this today, but this is a not first. I'd say this is, to me, the first signal of a weakening labor market, right? And it's one data point after we've had pretty strong labor conditions leading up till then. And look, I mean, the unemployment rate really hasn't even entered 4% yet, right? So we're still in very healthy territory from an unemployment rate standpoint. But this is a clear case of bad news equals good news. Why? Because ultimately the Fed, as the Fed kind of comes out of the equation, right? They become less and less of a force in the economy, which translates all the way down to buy Bitcoin, right? It's risk on. Okay.
Hey, this is good news for investing.
It's great news but
Yeah.
it's great news for the stock market too.
Mm-hmm.
So just so you know, I mean, it may not be great for you if you're listening to this. You just got laid off, right? That sucks.
Yeah,
That is bad, and that is happening at a high increasing rate, right? The real question is will we get that same momentum next month, right? Because one data point, as we've learned, is nothing, really nothing. And then CNBC covers it more in depth here. You can kind of get a good idea of job creation in the U.S. You can see generally the trend has been down and to the right. Okay, so this is just the latest of the softening, but as you saw last month, decent uptick, right, from the month before. So it could kind of go either way. It's when it comes to the labor market, it's kind of a dream scenario for the Fed. It's moving in the right direction, but it's for the Fed, but it's also not unhealthy. Okay, let's keep moving here. That's our salad. Let's get into a little bit more here. SEC pursues decisive action in the Terraform Lab and Duquan lawsuit. The U.S. SEC seeks summary judgment against Terraform Labs and Duquan, asserting clear evidence of securities law violation. Terraform Labs and Duquan counter by requesting the dismissal of the case, arguing their tokens do not constitute securities. So the SEC here turning up the heat on, a company similar to FTX. I know it's not one-to-one. They're totally getting charged with different things here. But, SEC turning up the heat. What I'm trying to highlight here is they're trying to keep the momentum. Hey, all the FTX guys, yeah, we hated those guys, even though they didn't, right? They championed FTX as the bastion of compliance when, in fact, they weren't. But, they can kind of play it off here. Hey, the bad guys are going to jail. All right, let's time to focus and set our aim on the next bad guys, right? So the SEC trying to keep that momentum up. Are you the audience for that messaging? No, you're a crypto fanatic. You love crypto, but you have to realize Gary Gensler is not trying to appeal to you. Okay, he's trying to appeal to his TradFi buddies. Okay, and that's his audience with this move. Also, he's just trying to just generally do his job. Obviously, there was a lot of foul play there with Duquan and Terraform Labs. So let's keep moving.
I still like. It's been now a year and a half since I've gotten to hear T Shroom talk about Duquan. But he's never once said it that way. He's always said Duquan. So first of all, I applaud your tenacity to stay consistent with your pronunciation.
It's just one of those things where I guess I'm wrong, but I kind of don't care. Because it's not like I don't have a lot of.
You don't even say it with like a glimmer of irony or like, oh, I know this is a joke. Like you just say it so seriously.
No, I'm just wrong. I'm not trying to be right. That's just what it is in my brain. Like I miscoded that into my brain.
In case you guys haven't noticed, it's a Friday. It's the end of the week. We still have our Saturday show tomorrow, which is going to be a blast. But I'm having fun kicking back, going through the charts, talking the news that's really not that important. Let's be honest. This news is not that important.
Hey. This is some hard-hitting stuff here, Tim.
But I love spending time with T Shroom and the bros. That part I love about this.
That's right.
We haven't really done a put. Smash the like button right now if you just have fun hanging out with the bros on a chill Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
If you don't smash like that, then
smash the like if you like the fact that Tim is completely callous to the fact of thousands of people are not getting hired in the month of October, just so he can just so his bags can pump.
There are so many things that affect that number, though. Like, and it moves so small. Like, listen, if somebody lost, I'm serious. If somebody lost their job this month, I'll be praying for you. Let me know. Reach out in the Discord. You don't know who the bros know. We got connections here in the bros. We'll find a bro a job, right? But I don't think that many people actually really lost jobs. These numbers are so skewed based off of data from who knows where. Right now I read something that's like, I can't. I don't think it's the right to say like the average American, but like a lot of Americans have two jobs at this point. So
Mm-hmm.
you also might have seen someone quit their job, or you just see jobs go down because people are taking less second jobs, and then now they're saying, "Oh, here we go," like the job payroll went down. And it's like, well, no one really lost a
Yeah.
job; they just quit one, and then they're focusing on something else.
Seems to be a lot to say about a subject that's not that important. So
I'm saying it's not that important because I think that these numbers are so skewed. It's okay. We'll move on. We'll move on.
I'm not in Tim's corner on today. That's okay. We're just having fun. We're having fun, guys. All right. If you are new to the channel, consider subscribing if you're having a good time, if you're learning a little something about this crazy economy we live in, and definitely leave us a like if we've made you chuckle or even think about chuckling. All right. This next one, we're starting to get into the steak. We've had our salad. Let's roast a little SBF. Why don't we? But before we do that, Tucker Carlson and Elon Musk predicted Biden's Justice Department would let SBF walk, and they didn't. What does this say?
To be fair, there hasn't been a sentencing yet, but
It's true. And the sentencing is in March. He has an upward bound of 115 years that he can be put away for. And I guess technically you're right, Tim, that Elon and Tucker Carlson could still be proven right. That
there's a lot
Biden
of
pardoned
time
him.
between us and March. A lot of time, a lot of things, a lot of names could be said from old SBF to cut that deal.
Yeah. Well, these are some pretty damning tweets here from Elon. He said tweeted something, and Elon said SBF was a major Dem donor, so no investigation.
He was wrong about that. Okay, yeah, that was wrong.
Yep. And then also Tucker said back in November 10th. No, I'm sorry. Did he say this today? Let's just read what it is. November 10th, 2022. Oh, I see. This is Matt Gertz.
Yeah.
Quoting. Biden's Justice Department seems very interested in a man called SBF. Why is that? Well, maybe because SBF was a Democrat party's second biggest donor. No warrant has been issued. Why? Well, because he's a political ally. Okay. So to me, this is almost kind of like a little bit of a swerve into politics, which I could care less. Well, I don't care less, but that's not us. That's not our lane. Ultimately, some conservatives got something wrong. Can you believe that, Tim? I can't believe it. Conservatives, I thought, were always right every single time. All right, moving on into a little further into the steak. Oh, we'll come back to this one. No, that is it. Okay, this is the time to kind of park out here on the question that we covered this morning. Bitcoin rally driven by microeconomic factors, not Spitcoin, not spot ETF speculation, says some group of analysts at QCP, which I thought was an interesting take. So, Tim, I throw it to you. I mean, we could get into a little bit more of what they say, but it's essentially that. It's not the ETF speculation. It's the economy, right?
That's what we're talking about. Yeah.
Dixie coming down, the 10-year coming down. That's what has allowed the liquidity to rotate into Bitcoin. What do you think?
I think it's a lot of reasons why it's rallying. First of all, you still have people very passionate about it. You have people that FOMO in who have been, trickling on the sidelines this whole time. You also have manipulation in play. So again, was I wrong about how high we would go? Yes, I was. But I was not surprised to see price go up before a dip. And my whole price action and timeline has been shifted based off this most recent move. But I'm just not surprised. This is the time period in the market where there's hype that comes in. Do you want to blame it on economic scares? Do you want to blame it on the ETF hype? Do you want to blame it on whatever? Ultimately, the price is pumping for the whales and institutions to take profit so they can buy lower levels again. Now, it went crazy high, which means that floor moves higher with it unless something catastrophic happens. But that's ultimately what it is. Don't be fooled. This price action was predetermined that they wanted it to happen. They wanted the price to pump, that they could take some profits, and then price could come back down, and they could buy some bags at lower levels. It's pretty simple. You blame it on what you want.
Yep.
But it is what it is.
Blame it on the alcohol. Some
You
might say.
could blame it on the alcohol. In fact, I
Yeah.
bet you alcohol was involved somehow, one way or another.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's no secret that Wall Street is buying Bitcoin, trades Bitcoin at the very least, right? So I think that there was some profit taking over in the equities market, and then that played a role. I think the Dixie coming down, the 10-year coming down. We say 10-year, that means American bonds. Okay, coming down. That that all kind of makes sense that it would rotate into something, right? And we also saw an uptick in gold. So, anyway, okay, let's go ahead and get into the answer of the factoid, and then we can do a little Q&A. How's that sound, Tim?
Q&A, just some chilling with the bros.
All right. So the answer to the factoid, which again, remember, who's it brought to you by? It's brought to you by Decrypt.tax. Tax season's coming up quick. Don't put it off another week, guys. Go to Decrypt.tax and book your free consultation. If nothing else, have a conversation with a tax attorney, right? How often do you get to do that for free? Again, now don't waste his time, right? But you can get in there and ask a couple questions. Ask him what he thinks about Bitcoin. He's a smart guy. Ernest, tell him we sent you. Just know that if you get in that meeting, he is going to give you a sales pitch. So, especially if you are in crypto. So at the end of the day, though, we're really here to find out what the answer to the factoid is. The English Mastiff, Tim.
Wow. Okay, so it must have been weight. It was weight and hugeness and largeness.
And there's the good boy of the day. That's the Mastiff.
Okay.
Get a good look at that pooch, Tim.
That's a good dog. That's a good looking dog, too.
Average height, 30 inches for a male.
Okay.
And 160 to 230 pounds.
That's pretty good size.
Goodness gracious. And then you've got, this was the next one, the Borbell. It's a big boy, too.
Yeah. That to me, I would have, if you would show me that picture, I would have thought that was a Mastiff.
Okay.
Maybe.
Well, I'm glad I didn't show you that picture.
You should have. You should have shown me the picture.
And that the fate of their democracy did not weigh on that. All right. And then this is the Tsao Inu.
Well, that's not one of the options, though.
Now, Tim, I'm kind of surprised you didn't get this. This was the Gary Inu. How did you not get the Gary Gensler Inu? I guess you just maybe I should have done a different elf, because I don't make these up. The elf does. Yeah, but we'll see. The Tsao Inu, and then you've got in the fourth place the Saint Bernard.
Yeah, this is definitely okay. This is for sure weight. I didn't know we were going in weight, and Great Danes are up there with it. By the way, I've seen a Great Dane that was over 200 pounds.
Right.
I know a Great Dane that's over 200 pounds, and that's not that far off of number one. So,
Alex O in the chat saying, "Much love, friends. Gotta love that."
What's up, Alex?
Ferns. I want to see the Gary Inu.
Fryerns.
That's the Great Dane. So the Great Dane doesn't even get in there until 5th place, and yet, Tim, that's the one that you picked.
All right, can you go back? Hold on, go back to the issue. Average height 28 to 30 inches. That's what? No, that's not true at all. This article has never been around a Great Dane. 28 to 30 inches is not that tall whatsoever, and Great Danes are ridiculously tall.
Yeah. Well, this is the kind of information that you can expect from ForbesAdvisor.com, folks.
Yeah,
Forbes
they
Advisor.
do not know their dog breeds. I protest this entire trivia that the elf presented.
I'll take it before the board of elves. This is the Neapolitan Mastiff. Now it almost looks AI generated. This does not the wrinkles.
That's a dog. Yeah, I've seen a dog like that before.
There's the Newfoundland.
Yeah,
Newfoundland. Got a whole country, not a country. It's a state, a province within Canada named after it.
Cool.
And then there is the Antonian Shepherd. You've tuned into the dog breed showing channel.
This is okay. We have a good Q&A. We're done. All right. This trivia was under protest.
It's under further review.
I don't think that the website being used I don't think the sources being used by the elf are accurate. But Scott Shell has a question. It says Q&A question. What exchange do you recommend for trading stonks, especially now that TD Ameritrade was bought out by Schwab? Thanks, bros. Well, I know T-Shroom has an exchange he likes. What is that exchange?
For buying stonks?
Stonks.
There are no good exchanges for buying stonks. The best thing you can do is message Gia S. She's got a broker
Don't you come for Gia. Listen, I don't even know if GS is in chat today. That's even more of a reason not to come for GS.
Yeah.
Gia, she did nothing wrong. And T-Shirt likes to pick on her. So Gia, if you are watching back, because I don't think you're with us live.
No, but Tim, this is a good opportunity for us to go ahead and talk about all the magic that is being produced over at Robinhood, the app. Robinhood, right now, you can get a free stock when you click on this link right here. Now I might even just click on it just to get the free stock. You might be thinking to yourself. But in addition to that, it's also an excellent top shelf stock brokerage. Now you might be thinking, but T-Shroom, I don't want to pay fees for crypto or stocks. Well, you're in luck, because with Robinhood, you don't ever pay fees. You do pay the gas fee, but a lot of times if I'm transferring USDC right on multiple chains, it's still free. Like the USDC gets to where I'm sending it, and it's like not even, it's free. So Robinhood, check it out, give it a look. You support the channel. You also can check out Uphold Wallet. If you don't have any Caspa, then that's where you can buy it. You pretty much can't buy it most other places. There's some exchanges that do have it, but we know exchanges these days are a little finicky, especially stateside. So that's that. Any more questions?
Well, we had to get rid of Gene. Gene was not being a good bro. See, here's the thing about being a good bro, everybody. You don't come in and chill projects. And I'm not even going to say the name of the project, because I've seen this name being chilled all over the place. So Gene, create a different account, come back, don't chill things, but I'm going to get rid of that. C90FTW is here saying, hey, yo, I recognize that name. That name likes to call me Smay, which I see as a very, very much endearment. Wow. I miss my good friend Smay. I haven't talked to him now in probably about a month. He had rumblings with me that maybe he might make an appearance soon on the channel, but then he went cold on me.
Indie Rock Crypto was feeling me earlier. I've scrolled all the way back. He said Skyrim has saved me dozens of dollars. And that was our life hack of the day here, guys, on the Investing Bros, is get video games and play them instead of going out and spending money in the evenings.
C90 did say, you're right. My bad, C90. You're right. It was the C that messed me up. CMG calls me Smay. But yeah, Smay as well. Yeah, I miss him very much so. Smay is the best. Here's the thing. I don't know how you could harass Smay, because he does stay off of social media pretty well.
He's unharassable.
If you find a way to harass good old Smay, go harass him and tell him to come on the Investing Bros channel, that his good friends Tim and T-Shroom miss him dearly, and they want to see him be a part, maybe a Saturday, because I think he's usually free on the Saturdays. What a Saturday show that would be if Smay just pops in one day.
Yeah. Now, Tim, let me give everybody an update really quick. Usually we only talk about this in the chat room of the Discord, which is a paid Discord chat room. But I have actually put some stop losses on my equities, guys, because this move since since October 30th on the Nasdaq, I believe is happened way too fast, and it's left gaps. So I have put stop losses, meaning a scheduled price to sell at, for both Google and Amazon, because I'm thinking that if price can't stay above a certain level here for the Nasdaq, that both of those names are going to test much lower. At least down to 12,399 for the Nasdaq. So that's kind of what I'm thinking, Tim.
A lot of gaps they're creating there. I mean, I'm just looking at that chart. So they definitely are going to have a retracement coming themselves. You're on my screen. But, that's good stuff. No, C90, by the way, still talking about, he goes by Christian now, says C90 FTW for the win. So the thing about that, so Smay goes by both. Just so you guys know, when it comes to Smay, and he put out a video a while ago dealing with, he deals with some mental health stuff. He's doing really well, by the way, on that issue right now. He is completely fine with people calling him Smay. In fact, he'll never not be called Smay. What he didn't like was there became a period. Those of you who maybe aren't OGs, Smay is a good friend of ours, was with us on the Crypto Jeb and Coffee and Crypto channel.
Yep.
Always bringing the joy, the laughter. But what he didn't like is that he got this persona and everyone treated Smay like kind of the class clown, the guy that's just really silly. When in reality, Smay's a really deep thinker. He thinks very seriously about a lot of stuff. He does like to have fun. He does like to impress, but he felt like he got to a place where he had to play a character, and that character was Smay, and that Smay character had to be silly and could never be serious, and it wasn't good for his mental health. So he has no problem with being called Smay, but what he doesn't want is to be put into a box, and that Smay's a silly guy. And he is still silly. He still does silly things, but we know Smay is a very intellectual, very intelligent, funny guy. Like he's all of the above. That's how awesome Smay is. So you can still call him Smay. You won't offend him.
Now, Crypto Trades has made an interesting recommendation here. He's suggested that for our next bro time, we do a T-Shroom takeover. So your suggestion is that Tim is just not there.
Him out. That's pretty much what he's saying right here.
That's cold.
And the truth is, Crypto Trades, he doesn't like to show up to our bro times much anymore.
Yeah,
he went off. He thought that he should listen. Clearly, we're not losing jobs. Crypto Trade still has a job, and that's why he misses our bro times from time to time.
Yeah.
Which I don't get. I don't get it.
That's right.
Yeah. I do love you. I do love you anyway. Hey, T-Shroom can have a takeover. Give Tim a day off. I'll go to the aquarium. I have a year-long pass to the aquarium here in Atlanta, the greatest aquarium in the world.
We're out here trying to tell people to save money, and you're getting memberships to
listen. That's just good. Listen, I spent less money on that year-long aquarium membership than you spent on your console. So.
And you have hours of fun that you could have at the aquarium.
Hours of fun with lots of fishes.
Tim, what are some of your favorite fishes there at the Atlanta Aquarium that you'd like to go visit? Have you built any relationships with these fish?
Listen, we mostly go for Brody, and Brody loves the seals. Mostly because I think he thinks the seals might be Beamer. Fun fact, pit bulls and seals have a striking resemblance. Just one has four legs, the other has flippers. So I think that part still confuses him. But whenever we go, he stares at the seals for like minutes. And he's a baby. I was going to say hours, but let's be honest. Babies don't have very long attention spans. The fact that he stares at them for minutes is pretty impressive. You know?
Right. You should tie Beamer's back legs together and put like one of those little mermaid things on him.
I'm thinking about it, yeah. And then we say you're on something, so I buy that tie, and then we cancel our membership to the aquarium, and I save more money. Yes. And he thinks he gets seals every day at home.
I'm gonna make we have the aquarium at home. The aquarium at home. It's just Beamer tied up. Sorry.
This is okay. I'm gonna make a prediction here, T-Shroom. 0 subscribers gained from the stream. Anyone who's watching here and has never watched the channel before is probably like, what the freak did I just come? I promise we normally talk about crypto in depth. It's a Friday. There wasn't a whole heck of a lot to discuss today. The Q&A continued to take us off. I mean, reading comments, Rick Nacho said, love the turtle market. That's true. Turtle market. We're talking about Smay here. Crypto Trades wants T-Shroom only bro times, which means he wants to fire Tim. It's a good thing he's not on the board. That's not the kind of talk that you get a mod, a blue name and a blue wrench there. Crypto Trades.
It's true. Yeah, no. I mean the attention to crypto has waned. There's actually this website that I use called Stock Tweets, which is actually I think where Crypto Trades met us, where he first crossed paths with the investing bros.
He was a stock guy who kind of found us stumbling into when he's getting into crypto stuff. So,
but if you go to that website, stocktweets.com, and I'm not going on there daily. I'm like maybe once a week, but you can see they've got a cool sentiment indicator, which is probably similar to the fear and greed. And then also they got message volume, which I think is actually pretty useful. You got to take it with a grain of salt because bots exist, right? But you can see as Bitcoin was making a move higher, you did have an all-time high, or not an all-time, but you had a high there for message volume. And then that has dropped off. So that, you're going to see that reflected just across the space. It has come back up a little bit, but, it's just people thinking, should I short? Right? Could this go higher? Right? And that's kind of question. I discourage people from taking short positions until the ETF has been either rejected or accepted, because that is going to send Bitcoin, in my opinion, it's going to send Bitcoin to the high heavens. That is just going to be, it's going to be like 50K in like 10 minutes is what I'm talking about. Like it could be crazy. You don't want to have a short position.
Well, hey, we just got a serious question, and thank you for bringing us back, especially if we're closing out. It's 3:59, which means we are going to close the show here in just a second. But Rick Nachos, keeping us ending on a good note, says, real question, you looking at the weekly close, how that candle affects next week? Let's take a look at Bitcoin's weekly close. It technically is still green, but it is slim. And of course, we have the rest of today. We have all of Saturday and most of Sunday before this candle closes. Let's absolutely wait to see what happens there. You will see when we're looking at moving averages, we are well above the 200 weekly moving average, but then you could also make the case that maybe after an explosive candle like we've seen here before, the last time we broke, look, we've actually broken this 200 weekly twice. And after a little bit of a hesitation, we make a move back down towards it. Yes, we drop a little bit below it, but as a whole, making a move back towards that 200 could be something we're looking at happening here. Oscillators on the weekly chart. Again, this is the first chart in the larger time frames that we have not seen a bearish flash, but we are seeing the RSI back in the category of being oversold, coming up all the way above 80. That's a bearish sign here. This is one that we want to see how the candle closes, but potentially the close of this candle could mark for us the bearish indicator on the weekly chart. But as it stands right now, Rick Nachos, this is kind of a middle ground right here. Let's take a look at last thing here, Market Oracle. Not necessarily saying this isn't an old enough chart. Maybe if I go up to a different one, do we get a support and resistance? No, we don't. We don't really get anything there. So we're not going to see anything extra from that perspective. But weekly chart kind of sitting here. You have a doji candle developed right now. Like if we were closing right this second, technically speaking, let me pull down the oscillators. And that is a doji that marks indecision, meaning we're not quite sure. Actually, it just turned red. It's kind of flirting with red and green. If I get rid of this trend line right here, you guys can see that better. At the moment, we are red with this weekly candle.
I love a good weekly candle.
So let's kind of see how this is. But at the moment, that is a doji. Or even worse, if this candle kind of closes down somewhere lower towards 34,000, you're starting to get into the category of that being a shooting star. That's also a top candle, top signal candle. So keep an eye on what happens. We will definitely keep you posted because guess what? It's Friday. That's the last weekly show of the week. It's our last afternoon show. But tomorrow's Saturday. And that means Saturday edition of the Bros here on YouTube, 11 a.m. 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come join us. It's always a blast. With that said, though, you guys have a fantastic day. Start off your weekend well. Go touch some grass, hug a loved one, watch the Bros on Saturday, and you guys have a fantastic weekend.
Trying to make paper, turn that batter to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor, the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, got your word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that batter to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.